Initiate time travel.
I've never had a book series before, and I was inspired about a year ago to make something that was a bit like the Goosebumps series. If you remember Goosebumps, they were kind of scary stories for children and pre-teens back in the 90s. I think they're still around. I wanted to do my own spin on them, and that's what Brackenwood Falls became, and it's all set in a boarding school. I never specify which country it's in, which if you've ever read any of them, you may have noticed that. And they're just short, self-contained, spooky stories. I wouldn't say they're horror stories. I don't think they're nightmare-inducing, but they are kind of bump in the night and shivers down the spine and the kind of thing that might give you a chill around a campfire. There are 4 out so far. There's Ghosted, which is about a possessed smartphone. There's The Vessel, which is about a creepy homework club in the school that doesn't let people leave. There is one called Hush Now, which is about teddy bears that come to life at night in the boarding house during a power cut, of all things. There is The Speed of Darkness, which has a bit more of a science fiction twist. It's sort of Jekyll and Hyde meets, I don't know, Stranger Things, or dare I say it, Doctor Who. And this latest one is called Instrument of Death, and definitely more of a fantasy science fiction-y story rather than a horror one. There are some spooky elements in there, but really the idea is that the main character, a boy called Billy, who's 13 years old, he does something happens at the beginning of the story, and in response to it, in trying to fix it, he ends up causing a catastrophe in which the laws of physics are completely rewritten and reality as he knows it is changed seemingly forever, and he's got to try and put it right. So that's what Instrument of Death is. They're short books. They're quick reads. They're intended for readers aged between 10, 14, 15 maybe. And you can get the Omnibus Season 1, which is the first 4 that I've just described. Instrument of Death is the beginning of Season 2. And they're self-contained. You don't have to have read any of the previous ones to understand what's going on. But they do all form a bigger story arc, so there is a bigger storyline going on, so you can read them through and get a progression of a bigger picture that's emerging. But if you just want to enjoy them on their own merit, then you can. Instrument of Death is the latest one, and it's available now in paperback and on Kindle.
Five, four, three, two, 1. Liftoff. We have liftoff. The Eros 5 passenger rocket is on its way to lower Earth orbit. The 28th Titas launch of 2023.
All alone, face to face with the darkness that I know so well.
It's hard to properly articulate what I felt when I saw Eros 5 explode. Gut-wrenching anguish? Does that come close? Somehow, it's like it's barely scratched the surface of my sweating skin. Had I really just watched 6 people die? Is that what I'd seen?
I think as a creator, you always make things that are some expression of yourself or tap into something you've always wanted to put on the canvas or put on the page or whatever. And with Titas, it was actually more a case of me forcing myself to make something that wasn't necessarily to my taste, in the sense that it's a political thriller. I've never written one before. I do enjoy them when I watch them occasionally, but this was just a challenge to make a radio drama / audiobook that only used 2 actors over the course of an hour. Could it be gripping? Could it tell an exciting story that's kind of political and conspiracy and intriguey? It's about a commercial space rocket that explodes on takeoff, killing all its passengers. It's witnessed by a social media man who's doing the marketing and the promotion for the event, and he wants to understand what happened. And as he delves deeper into this company, trying to understand what actually has gone on during this event, he unearths something that is way beyond whatever he expected, and he discovers he's way in over his head. And you find out what happens to him over the course of an hour. Yeah, it's just 2 actors, a lovely guy called Jay Giblin, who I had the pleasure of working with. I recorded it last summer in a local recording studio in Appley Bridge with a wonderful audio engineer called Luke. I'd be surprised if you've ever heard anything quite like it, and if you've ever experienced anything that I've ever made before, I can guarantee you've never experienced anything quite like this. Morphology may be used to produce different inflections of the same word, or entirely new words belonging to the same word family, a word that contains 2 or more. Over the last year, I've been teaching English to Year 7, First Form, Key Stage 3, and I didn't have much time, in all honesty, to plan what I was actually going to do, and it was very ad hoc. What I ended up doing was taking some stuff that I'd written, some creative writing, the Brackenwood Falls books, actually, and breaking them down into lessons. So one chapter would be a lesson, and I would bury spelling, punctuation, and grammar exercises within the chapters, like identify all the nouns, find the semicolon errors, identify the main clause and the subjunctive clause in these sentences, etc. And at the same time as they were doing that, they were doing a computer-based spelling, punctuation, and grammar learning lesson, which they seemed to really dislike, and they were dragging their heels every time they came to it. But in contrast, I found that they were really engaging with and seemed to be enjoying the lesson-based, interactive, dynamic exercises and reading a story and doing the tasks that came with it. So after speaking to the English department and the head of English about deciding about what the next year looks like, in terms of teaching spelling, punctuation and grammar. I volunteered, I can't remember if I was asked or whether I volunteered, but anyway, I was very willing to do the spelling, punctuation and grammar for Key Stage 3 next year, and I came up with the idea of just devising my own program based on the lessons I'd done the previous year, using that format and expanding it into a proper package, a proper bundle. So that's what I'm doing, and it's called GrammarStone, and I'm going to use it to teach spelling, punctuation and grammar next year. And I also plan to see if other schools want to buy it. And it also occurred to me that people who are homeschooling might find some value in this as well, because it's a ready-to-go package, broken down lesson by lesson by lesson, covering everything that's in the national curriculum for Key Stage 3. I've been sitting down with the national curriculum on my desk next to my laptop as I've been working over this summer. So yeah, it's going to be a package bundle, and you can find out more about it on my website right now. Take a look.